before we get into that, I wanted to talk about some Big East stuff because I know obviously you're one of our leads of Road to the Garden. And I wanted to talk about a really crazy moment during the St. John's Providence game in Providence yesterday. So, it's about 14, 15 minutes left in the game. St. John's, they're down. I think they're down a point.
Yeah.
Zuby Ejiofor drives to the hoop. And then gets fouled pretty hard.
Bryce. It was Bryce Hopkins. It was Bryce.
But it was Bryce Hopkins driving to the hoop. So sorry, Bryce Hopkins, because I know that Zuby was like getting in the mix there.
Yeah.
Bryce Hopkins gets fouled pretty hard by Providence. It's all ball. But he comes down and then it turns into a massive scuffle. The game gets paused for 20 minutes. I mean, look, if you're listening to this, you already know what happened. The game gets paused for 20 minutes while the referees try to figure out how to, exactly who to eject, why they're getting ejected. It was a fight that spilled right into the cheerleader section on the baseline near the St. John's bench. In total, by the time they resumed the game 20 minutes after the scuffle, I believe 4 St. John's players were ejected. 2 Providence players were ejected. They resumed the game. Another Providence player, I believe it was Sellers, right? He gets ejected later
Sellers
on.
got ejected first. Jones got ejected afterwards. So
Providence Jones was
the 2 best players.
Yeah, so Jones got ejected afterwards for just like another just really hard foul while Zuby was driving to the basket. Obviously, the tensions were still high. It seemed like by the end of the game, both coaches were really just trying to play till the clock hit zeros there. I mean, it was still a very close game at a certain point right after the foul, but St. John's obviously came away with the win, and not to mention all the players. Not to mention all the fans that were just steadily getting ejected from both the St. John's and Providence fan sections. As the game was kind of winding down. All that to say, I know this has kind of been a little bit of a down year for the Big East. And obviously we don't want to condone, violent outcomes in games. But considering the way that played out, I know you texted me yesterday, long live the Big East. In a year where the Big East might be a little bit down on the national picture, for a game to escalate like that, is it a little hopeful for you that, these guys still feel like Big East basketball really, really matters?
Definitely. And we definitely don't want to condone the violence. This was completely out of pocket. Like Duncan Powell, who wasn't there for the Bryce Hopkins situation, clearly only did this just for the fans. Like that's what it is to me. He wasn't there for Bryce Hopkins. He went out of his way to foul Bryce Hopkins because he knew that's exactly what the fans wanted him to do. Like it's completely indefensible from the Providence side, and I've seen them defend it. One of like their radio guys, seemingly, at least they did a spot from like the Radio Row, right? And they just said, "Yeah, well, Bryce Hopkins started this." No, he didn't. I mean, actually, I said no, he didn't, but that's wrong. If Bryce Hopkins wasn't there to get clobbered, none of this happens. So from that perspective, he did start it, right? He was there, and like he got hit. If he didn't get hit, this never would have happened. But
yeah, exactly. Then, so can I give you the full list of players that were ejected? So on St. John's, it was Dylan Mitchell, Kelvin Odie, Ruben Prey, Sadiku Abine Ayo. Sorry, I probably butchered that so bad. And then on the Providence side, Jalen Sellers, Duncan Powell, Jameer Jones. Like you said, I mean, I was on social media. I was actually, so full disclosure, I was actually watching the Fordham game until that happened. And with like 5 minutes left in the Fordham game, someone texted me, "Oh, there was a big fight in St. John's Providence." I was like, "Oh, that's crazy." And then, the game, the Fordham game wrapped up. 5 minutes of game time. I go to flip on the St. John's Providence game. I'm like, let me see if there was still time. Between that text and me flipping the game back on, they were still reviewing the ejections. Like, it was crazy. So obviously I watched to the finish, and it was great. Underrated moment for you, I texted you about it, was the Sanin technical foul. like towards the end of the game as well. He got a block on a guy and then kind of, did the slow approach and trash talking, and the ref immediately tees him up. It's just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, like they've already ejected 7 guys. Like, don't be the 8th. But to get on your point about, people on social media being like, oh, they started it. Look, it was an aggressive foul. It was
absolutely a flagrant too. Like he didn't even attempt to go for the ball. He went for Bryce's face. That is the only thing he was trying to pull down. Like if you've ever done the thing, like Shane Battier said he did this when like he guarded Kobe once, where like you just put the hand in the guy's face just to like annoy him.
Yes,
that is
absolutely
what Duncan Powell did, except he did it and then just clotheslined him from there.
Yeah, so it's like, you start it when you foul a guy like that, and then you escalate it on St. John's side when 4 guys come off your bench to get in the mix, right? So like at that point, it's like pointing fingers is really just useless, right?
It's like a Providence fan who said, "Yeah, well, if Val Ackerman oversaw the league better and didn't let Georgetown get it coolly, none of this would have happened." What?
Yeah. I love that. I love Providence fans finding some way to make this Cooley's fault. No, but we love Providence fans, and we love St. John's fans as well. DeRosa maybe not so much. But look, let's get into our main. I just wanted to talk about that real quick because I felt like it could not be ignored.
He does the foul, then Shagman like tries to size everyone up, and then he went to try to elbow Dylan Mitchell, but he didn't rotate the elbow full enough, so he got here and then just like fell forward like that. Yes. Really funny. Like he didn't swing.
Yeah, so unfortunately these guys don't play again for sure in the regular season. They could meet up again at Madison Square Garden. Say that does happen. What's the vibe shift? Obviously, now that being on neutral site, but it's St. John's home turf for the tournament.
I mean, Providence's season, like, if that happens, it's gonna be in like the 7, 10, 8, 9. It'd be after the round after that. I mean, Providence would probably feel like their season's basically over. So it wouldn't surprise me if Duncan Powell just went at Bryce Hopkins again, just to try to get more love from the fans on his way out, because he has had, respectfully, a horrible season for how much he got paid. And this is the only game in Big East play he's actually been a positive impact. This is the only one. And then he got himself ejected trying to fight Bryce Hopkins.
Yeah. So, I mean, if there are any wrestling fans out there, I feel like we'd call that, just trying to get cheap pops. Yeah. So if you're a pop merchant, I guess that's the right move.
This isn't K-fob, that's for sure.
Yeah. This is some real Big East basketball.